Quick note, there is a new coupon code down below. Holiday 2020 will get you a great discount on the amazing programs linked down below. You can also email me for a bundle coupon at kevin@mekevin.com. Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Let's take a look at what congressmen and women have been saying over the weekend in regards to stimulus to get our week started. This is supposed to be the final week before the deadline to get stimulus passed by December 11th. However, now we know that this is likely getting extended to the 18th. Congress is kicking the can down the road another week, and this is exactly why we always sign up for life insurance in as little as 5 minutes via the link down below and get 4 free stocks with Webull, because when you sign up for 4 free stocks with Webull, you get 4 free stocks worth at least $21 up to $1,600. Check it out down below. Let's get started to see what Congress has been up to and what they're saying. Get started with MSNBC from this morning.
And lawmakers today may not make today's self-imposed deadline, lawmakers in Washington, for releasing the text of the COVID-19 relief package.
That's the other big thing, is they're supposed to be providing us the text of the stimulus relief package today, the bipartisan proposal, but this appears to be getting delayed now.
And they will definitely not include another $1,200 payment to Americans. President-elect Joe Biden was among those hoping negotiations would produce a second wave of the very popular stipend, but the Associated Press reports the bill will only provide an extra $300 per month in federal unemployment as direct assistance. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders said he will oppose any bill that doesn't include the $1,200 payment, but progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she remains open to it. Congresswoman Murphy, what is it going to take to help people who are suffering, and some of them, have no financial legs to stand on now?
Quick note, the Associated Press article they're referencing is based on interviews with other senators. We're going to look at some of these, but basically indicating that right now, and we already know this, there are no $1,200 stimulus checks in the bipartisan proposal, the $908 billion one. Now, there are hopes of it still being in play, per what Joe Biden mentioned, and there are still Democrats hoping to be able to negotiate it in. With no text drawn up yet, who knows, maybe we can still get it in, but right now it's, in my opinion, only looking about 20% likely that we'll see checks in this package. And there will be questions for, will it be in the next future packages? But let's get some more updates.
For months, I've been pushing for a bipartisan COVID relief bill, and I think the Senate proposal has a good framework. It brings both sides back to the negotiating table, and they're having real conversations. But that is a step forward, although not one that I'm sure the American people feel a lot of hope in, because they don't yet see the money in their pockets or the support into law. But we have to understand that Republicans haven't been serious about negotiating. Their side hasn't even put a bill together that is remotely realistic or that has the chance to be pass the Senate. Look, I think
Republicans could say the same thing about the HEROES Act, right? But anyway.
Need to make some hard compromises here. We have cold, hard months ahead of us, and there's no more time to waste, particularly in Florida, where our state unemployment is disastrously low. Look, we at the federal level have the ability to help the American people today, and we need to think about it as a down payment. We can and should do more to help workers and American businesses get through this winter, and then we can fight for more in the future.
Now, I don't know that we could say that Florida is low on the unemployment pay. They pay about $275 per month. That is lower than New York and California, but it's actually higher than many other states. For now, though, let's go ahead and walk away from that interview by saying, hey, you know what? Maybe they can push for that down payment now and more stimulus in the future. But right now, let's see if we can get some other updates. Let's jump on over to CNN, actually, and then we're going to go to Fox. Let's grab a few more interviews here and see if we can piece together exactly what's happening here. So we're going to jump on over to Senator Mark Warner. Let's see what he had to say about stimulus.
Senator Warner, you've been a critical part of this team negotiating the $908 billion deal. President-elect Biden told me he thinks it should pass, but House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called it just a starting point for further negotiations. Are Schumer and Pelosi at this point hindering your ability to get this deal done?
Well, Jake, this is a compromise. There's been a group of 8 of us. It's grown to 10 that have worked over the last 2 weeks every day, except for Thanksgiving. We're going to have another multi-hour call today. For those of us who are Democrats, we would have preferred a bigger plan. For my Republican colleagues, they would have liked the plan that Mitch McConnell put out at about $500 billion. This is a compromise. Neither side is going to get the full amount or all the component parts that they wanted. But as you pointed out, with the economy weakening, with 200,000 additional cases of the virus yesterday, and with so many of these initiatives from the first CARES package running out as soon as the day after Christmas, it would be, what I call stupidity on steroids if Congress doesn't act. And we're going to keep at it. I think $908 billion for a targeted 4-month relief plan for a bridge to a Biden administration. I think this is the direction the Congress needs to move in.
Now, this one I thought was very interesting because they are suggesting a 4-month package, but we were under the impression that unemployment would only get boosted through the end of January. So if this is going to be a 4-month package, that would mean that unemployment would actually go through Q1 2021, which would mean the end of March. I'm not sure if that means it would potentially delay that January stimulus package that Joe Biden is talking about, because Joe Biden says, let's get this down payment done here in December. Let's do another package in January, probably the last week of January. I'm hoping right around my birthday, around January 28th. That'd be nice if we can get some stim checks out right around my birthday.
President Trump has indicated that he would sign a $908 billion package. There's only one $908 billion package out there. That's ours. Leader McConnell has said he's not interested in making a point. He wants something which passes into law. It only can pass into law if it's bipartisan in the House and the Senate, and ours is. Now, neither have said, oh, we'll sign your bill. That's fair. We have final language. Our final language, Chris, will probably come out earlier this week. And so then people can look at it and we can modify it as needed.
And this is really probably going to be Tuesday or Wednesday at this point. I don't think we're going to get any language here on Monday, but we'll see.
But the indications I get, the pain of the American people is driving this, and I'm optimistic that both those leaders will come on board.
Finally.
Let's do a lightning round. Quick questions, quick answers, and some of the specifics about the legislation. Some members of your group and also outside your group are calling for another round of $1,200 direct payments to every adult American. Is that go or no go for you?
This is let me nuance that. It may be a go, but it's not in this bill. This is not a stimulus bill. It is a relief bill. And it's something for the next 3 to 4 months.
I would think that a lot of us are like, $1,200 would be relief at this point, okay? But again, bringing this up about this 3 to 4 month thing. And here he is suggesting, hey, maybe we'll get stimulus checks in the future because maybe it's not going to be in this bill, but it'll be in a future bill maybe. But why this 3 to 4 month thing? That's interesting. And so I expect now in the language of this $908 billion package that we're going to see a lot about things expiring at the end of March.
Help those in greatest need. There may be a stimulus check, but that would be part of a different piece of legislation.
January maybe.
Will the moratorium on evictions be extended?
Good question.
We do extend that, but we also bring relief to the landlords. They're the ones holding the bag. And so we're giving relief to the landlords on the condition that the person not be evicted. We do think we get there.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That was not on the outline. That is a big piece of information right here.
Now, Democrats have made it clear, not in your group, but generally, that they oppose liability protection for businesses that reopened during the pandemic. Is that non-negotiable for Republicans? Does that have to be in the bill?
Define non-negotiable. There has to be some liability protection. Think about it. At first, CDC and Dr. Fauci were saying don't wear a mask. And then they were saying wear a mask. And so there's been ambiguity as we have gone through. And then think of that small restaurant when people were told not to wear a mask, and now someone's going to file a claim. Just the discovery would make them bankrupt. So we've got to have something, but it has to be something.
A discovery, by the way, is a legal process where basically attorneys bill you like $100,000 just to depose parties like witnesses or the owner of the restaurant, the chef of the restaurant. Let's get the hostess of the restaurant. All that costs money.
That we negotiate that's acceptable to both. And frankly, that's one of the sticking points right now.
Yes.
President-elect Biden.
The reason that is a sticking point, by the way, is because Nancy Pelosi and Democrats are okay with liability protections as long as there are consumer and worker protections. The way the verbiage is written now with Republicans does not provide consumer or worker protections. It's just straight up corporate pretty much immunity. It's really tough to get through the language they have now.
Says he supports this compromise that you and the others are offering as a, quote, down payment, but that he fully intends to come back after he's inaugurated in 2021 and ask for more. Take a look at what he said.
Americans need help, and they need it now. And they need more to come early next year.
Do you agree that Washington will need to pass?
I'm going to make a quick note here. Joe Biden has said early next year, but he has also specified that as January in his speeches before. So maybe it's between January and March for the next stimulus package.
More stimulus, more relief in 2021 to help prop up the economy.
Hey, tell me what the vaccine uptake is. Tell me what the infection rate is. If the vaccine is...
That's interesting. So he's actually slamming back here as a Republican going, hey, look, if everybody takes the vaccine right away and COVID's gone, maybe we won't need another package. Notice that? But if uptake on the vaccine is low, the economy keeps dragging on, he's basically saying, hey, it's going to be conditioned. All right.
Being deployed, infection rates are falling, stores are reopening, small businesses are flourishing. We don't. But if the infection rate continues to climb, we may. So you have to kind of give me the variables upon which I'm deciding. I'm hoping that vaccine deployment begins to reopen things as infection rates fall.
Okay, then we jump into election talk. So instead, let's get a reaction from Bloomberg on what Cassidy just told us about stimulus.
Anne-Marie, this to me is a little bit more of an intuition, of a gut feeling. This is not Cassidy saying that Trump and McConnell have signed off on anything, that they have signed on a dotted line or given winks and nods or anything like that. But what he is referencing is the fact that Trump at some points has called for a much larger stimulus that's under discussion, and he thinks that Mitch McConnell is going to come on board with it at some point. It's a little bit more money than McConnell has wanted to spend, but the thought is that this is going to be, in Cassidy's view, this is going to be a way to get forward. Where we're really coming to right now is if you want to do a coronavirus sort of aid package before the end of the year, there really aren't that many vehicles to do it. This might be the most advanced one running, and so the folks who've been involved with the creation of it as it's being created are basically sitting there saying, like, there's only one train in town. If you want to go somewhere, best get on board right now, and we can tweak as we need to, but this is the only one running.
Derek, very briefly, only a few weeks left to 2020. What's the window here to get something actually done?
Yeah, you've got to have something this week, I think, Anne-Marie. You can have a couple of I's left to dot and T's left to cross, but you better have a really good idea by the end of this week where you're going, because you simply need some time to just get all of this stuff through. Remember, there's also a defense bill out there that Trump says he's going to veto that Congress might have to try and override a veto. Would be the first time in Trump's presidency that would happen. That's still on the agenda. You got to stop a government shutdown that's a couple days away. Theoretically, there's a way to patch that, but there's a lot of things that you have to do that Congress is staring at, and, clock's ticking. Everyone's going to go home from Christmas, and then are they going to come back at all before it goes over to the new Congress January 3rd?
Okay, so what have we heard so far? Well, we've heard that these next 2 weeks now are going to be very interesting. We've got this week to get a draft of the bill done, which is apparently still being negotiated. Liability protections are still this classic holdup. We've heard of this a million times before. It looks like this bill is going to be something that's going to last us through the end of March. Biden says we should have another bill in January, but potentially as late as March. This is kind of aligning that it wouldn't be a surprise for us to see maybe that next stimulus package be closer to March after this one. Maybe that one will have checks, but we just heard Bill Cassidy say maybe we're not even going to do another stimulus package after this, in which case there might not ever be those stimulus checks again, at least not for this crisis. So we will see. How long will the unemployment pay last? Will it be retroactive? Right now, we're expecting retroactive stimulus pay through December 1st, which is barely anything, given that right now, well, it's, or the first week of December here. But potentially, we will see that get written back to November 1st. So let's stay tuned for updates. I expect a ton of updates this week. This catches you up on exactly what congressmen and women are saying as of this morning, folks. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and be part of that pre-1 million crowd if you have not yet subscribed. And folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.